Hello there, and these are some of the productivity tips that I have learned after 2 years of being an engineering student that you may not have heard of. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Tony Pham, and I am currently a second year. Well, I finished my second year of electrical engineering, and for the past 2 years, I have really tuned in on my efficiency and productivity rather than just brute forcing my way through my work and purely focusing on output, which is what I used to do back when I was in high school. And as you can see, this productivity and efficiency focused has really given me great results. This is my 2024 results, 2025 results. As you can see, I am a consistent high distinction and distinction students, which is the two highest grade bands in university. So it's pretty sick considering that I am an engineering student. And this is also me receiving a first year engineering student award. This is the P.W. Stevens Engineering Prize, and it is awarded to the student with the highest GPA of their cohort. So that's pretty sick, and that's some credibility for you to start trusting me and to know that the things that I have done has worked for me. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first tip that I want to give you is please be specific with your schedule or your work block. All right, now, first thing first, it is super important to schedule your work block. Let's get that out of the way. It's very obvious that you can achieve way more when your days are scheduled. You're also super more likely to achieve the things that you have planned out as opposed to if you were just to freestyle and try to get that thing done. However, it is even more important to have a clear goal or intention after that work block. Now, what does this mean? This means to have a time frame and a quantitative or a measurable results that you can look back on and know that you have progressed after the work session. So, for example, as an engineering student, when exam season comes, I would have a very clear goal every single day. I would do a practice paper, for example, my maths practice paper for an hour and 30 minutes, and then I spend 30 minutes after that doing the corrections and making sure that I and just go through the things that I might have gotten wrong. So after the work session, I always know that I have achieved here completing the practice maths paper and also completing the corrections. So I can very easily track my progress. And that is the beautiful thing about having a clear intention for your for your work block. It makes it very clear and very easy for you to achieve what you have set out. For this example, if I were to schedule my work block and say math revision, it would not be clear what I would have to do to achieve what I wanted to do. In this case, completing a maths practice exam and also the corrections. If I if I haven't scheduled my work correction within my work block, I probably wouldn't have done that as well. So it's very important, and doing this makes it so much easier to direct your focus and to also track your progress. And overall, it just makes you feel so much more fulfilled knowing that you have made considerable and measurable progress. So that was the first tip. The second thing that I'd like to show you is the Zeigarnik effect. Now, what is the Zeigarnik effect? As you can see on the screen, you are so much more motivated to complete a task that you have started, a task that you have left open for yourself to complete. And how you should implement this into your life, into your student life is, let's say there's a very dreadful task, a very big assignment that you know you're going to have to complete after a certain amount of time. So it feels very, very difficult to start. What should you do? Change your mindset. We are not going to try to finish it. We are just going to plan to start it. Literally, just start. Like, you don't even have to worry about what you can do. You just have to start it and leave it open. And as I've said, this works exceptionally for assignments. And what you realize is once you have started it, your mind is going to constantly think about the assignment because It's this weird phenomenon where when you start something, it just keeps lingering within your mind. So, but when you don't start it, it actually doesn't, you don't think about it that much. So you are much more likely to keep procrastinating and, leaving things to the last minute. But once you have started it, it's gonna keep lingering within your mind, and you're gonna, over time, automatically build the motivation to try and complete the assignment. And also, another benefit to implementing this Zeigarnik effect is you are much more likely to get more things done in your first session of starting the task anyways, because there is much less pressure on your shoulders now that you are only planning to start it. So since there's less pressure, you are actually more likely to sort of get into the flow state and get more things done on the first session of starting it. So it's a win-win situation. You just gotta think about starting the assignment. Don't worry so much about finishing it. It's gonna put so much unwanted pressure on your shoulders. So there you go. Second tip, the Zeigarnik effect. The third tip I would like to give you is time blocking versus time boxing. All right. Both of these are excellent for scheduling your days, becoming more organized. However, you need to distinguish the difference between important and urgent tasks. So, what are urgent tasks? As a student, this might be the weekly reports that you might have to write. This is very common in university. This might be the homework that your teacher has set out. And the important tasks are the assignments. Okay, the assignments or the projects where you're given a long time, several weeks to complete it. And you would want to use time blocking for urgent tasks because with urgent tasks there's a high importance of getting it done on time and it's coming very soon. And time blocking is a thing where you would schedule a certain amount of time within your day, but this time is not set in stone. It's flexible. So you can, let's say, at the end of that time block, you'd have a spare 20 to 30 minutes. That's fine. You can extend that time block to finish the urgent task because it is urgent. So you get more value out of trying to extend your time block by a little bit. However, you need to use time boxing, on the other hand, for important tasks. Okay? Time boxing needs to be strict, it needs to be set in stone within your schedule because you are using time boxing for important tasks. Now, the interesting about important task is it doesn't feel emotionally important to you because obviously, with the example of the assignments or projects, you're given quite a bit of time. So it doesn't feel urgent. It doesn't really appeal to you that you need to finish it, you need to start it. So the reason we use time boxing is it is set and stone within your calendar. So you're definitely gonna spend time on the important task that you wouldn't be thinking about it otherwise. And with time boxing, shouldn't extend the you shouldn't extend the time that you're gonna spend on the task because it is not so necessarily urgent, so you can spend more time on it over the stretch of days or weeks. And the reason time boxing is so important is because you need to have a set and stone spot in your calendar where you are spending your time on the tasks that don't feel as important. Because if you put so much emphasis on time blocking and the time blocking task, you're never gonna have time for having the important tasks such as the assignments in your calendar. So what's gonna end up happening is you'll leave stuff to the last minute and you're gonna have to use time blocking all the time. And what you realize is you won't you feel like you won't have enough time. So in the end, everything just gets really messy. That is why you need to balance time blocking and time boxing within your calendar. And that was the three things that I have learned throughout my first 2 years of university that you probably haven't heard of that can skyrocket your productivity. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you will implement these things into your student life and you will see great results within your academics. Until next time, I'm not gonna sign out. Goodbye!